All right, so welcome to lesson 2. So now we're going to be looking at this position size EA, an expert advisor that we can utilize and also set up for our trade management. Okay, so we've already started building. I took you through rather the different types of trade management concepts that I use day in, day out, and I'm going to be introducing you to it. Okay, now just before we do that, I just want to show you an example of a trade that I took today. Of course, as at time of recording this video, and how it worked out, and also using the trade management, how you also would have traded. You'd have set up your own EA, right? So look at this chart here. So we have the 4 hour, we have the 15 minutes, and then we have the 1 minute. All right, so on the 4 hour here, you can see clearly that on the 4 hour, let me just make the 4 hour full screen. Okay, so here we have the 4 hour. You can see clearly here price action. So we had this low, okay, that this high rather, this low, yes, led to the sweep of this high, right, to the break of structure that took out this high. So basically from here, if we draw this to this low here, and then from here price took out this high, and left us a new high here on the 4 hour, tried to pull back but failed to do so, returned but also failed to take out the high of the candle by the body, leaving this week for us, and that showed slowing of momentum, right? And then price sold off, literally sold off heavily from there. Now returned into this area, also took out this low but failed to do so by the body. And then we had from here we now had price pushed back, pull back, and then we had this pull, this what do you call this now, correction, right? And then from this we had this high now taking, price pushed up again, registered a high, pull back, and then now we have a high. So clearly the market, the swing range is bullish. Evidently price tried to take out the low but failed to do so, and right now we see confirmation that the price is now is now bullish, right, aligning itself with the swing range. So the internal structure is now bullish, and our expectation after a break of structure again is what? A pullback before a continuation, right? So this is basically what we're expecting based on price action and market structure. Now that is why you must understand market structure. If you don't understand market structure, I encourage you to go watch those videos again. Go watch the videos on how to draw your highs, how to draw your lows, what qualifies as a break of structure. On the 4 hour, it has to be by the body. On the 15 minutes, it has to be by the body. On the 1 minute, only when we're executing the trade, using the Tom flip entry, that a break of structure can be considered, when we just have a wick, okay, taking out a high, only on the 1 minute. On the 1 minute Tom Lake's entry, we don't consider wicks as break of structures. It has to close by the body. Okay, so if you still haven't really internalized market structure yet, I encourage you to really go and watch those videos, because that's the foundation of everything. Now back to this trade. So this is basically the 4 hour. So we can see that clearly the 4 hour has rejected this low and it's now bullish. Okay, now let's go to 15 minutes and see how this it's playing out on the 15 minutes. So let me just make this to only be available on the 4 hour. So let's go to 15 minutes. So here we have the 15 minutes chart here. Now by the way, if you're not using a paid subscription for TradingView, you wouldn't be able to, I think, view 3 charts at a time. So if you just want to switch from one chart to the other, let's say on the 4 hour, all you need to do, if you want to go to 15 minutes, just type 15, okay, and press enter, and it will switch to 15, right? And then you double tap the y-axis, okay, here like this, so it just sort of fits the screenshot into your screen, and then you use your mouse to kind of rearrange however you want it to display on your screen. Okay, if you want to go back to the 4 hour, we just type 4. I can see that's 4 minutes. So 4 hours is made up of how many seconds again? 240, right? Yeah, so you can see that's 4 hours. So we type that, and then it takes us back to our 4 hours. So these are 4 hour chart. Okay, so that's how you can navigate through the different charts quickly. So now on the 15 minutes, let's also expand this. So clearly in the 15 minutes we can see something. Let's start from here. So from yesterday's price action, we can see that that was not even yesterday. That was from Wednesday. Today is Friday, anyways. When I'm recording this, I did a walkthrough video on this structure here, but you can see clearly price swept the low, liquidity sweep led to a change of character, a choke. And then from there we had this bullish boss, which continued leaving large liquidity, I would say, area for price eventually to come, pick all of that liquidity to get more sort of momentum to push to the upside. And that exactly happened. News came out and pushed price down, sweeping all of this liquidity around here. By the way, this area was mitigated it, and now pushed back up, took out this high, and registered a new high and reacted to this POI that we have here. Now you see, this is the reason why it's very important to draw all the POIs. As you can see, price was reacting to some POIs, to some levels and all. If you look at this area here, you can see price was reacting to, let me draw this so you can see this buy to sell wick. Okay, this was the area price was reacting to, okay, before we had that pullback and then continuation. And then if you do this for almost every pullback, you discover that there's always a price at some point, maybe in the past, that price is actually reacting to. That's why it's important to draw your POIs, at least your major POIs, and then you use that to determine where you take your profit. Okay, so now, okay guys, so that's that. So as of today, 8:45 a.m. We had UTC plus one time, of course. We had this area basically has our area of focus. Now you could see clearly that this, after this break of structure, we didn't really have a pullback, so price was just making series of higher highs. Now that eventually brought us into this area here, and as you can see, by 8:45 a.m. we already mitigated this area, this POI. Sorry, 7:15, yeah. And then by 9 a.m. price tried to close above it but failed severally, and we had this sweep of liquidity, okay, and then that led to a choke. Now after that, what happened? Price returned, retested that sweep zone now, and then we had this opportunity to sell. Well, I didn't catch this trade because I was doing something else, but very nice trade setup. Now I want to show you the one I took, right? So of course price pulled back down, and then another trade showed up here. I think I tried entering, but I wasn't tagged in. I'm going to show you in the 1 minute. I took another trade anyways, I think around between these two trades that was actually lost. But then anyways, price pulled back and then returned into this 4-hour POI, which now presented another opportunity to trade. Now remember, based on how we trade and what I've shown you in the previous models, in the previous lessons, we have about 4 models: pro trend, risk entry, pro trend confirmation entry, counter trend risk entry, counter trend confirmation entry, and then we have of course the counter trend entries are for advance, and then we have the ranging market entry, we have the flip zone, the flip sweep zone entry, right? So that's about 6 types of entries, okay, 6 models rather, that we use to to trade the market. Now the first 2 models, pro trend risk entry and also pro trend confirmation entry, are the ones that are for beginners. Counter trends are things that later on, as you develop in your skill, you can begin to spot. But really, if you understand market structure, how I've explained it, I can tell you that within a short while you should be able to trade even the so-called advanced entries, because they're literally just the same thing in terms of structure. But you need to be able to see it right before you can trade it. So anyways, so price, after breaking this high, gave us a bearish chalk, and that gave us an opportunity to trade a counter trend and trade that into this area here, into the zone. Now remember, after price comes into the 4-hour, what do we do based on our trade plan? Now of course I'm going to also be going through the trade plan anyways in more detail, but based on our trade plan, when price mitigates the 4-hour, what do we have to do? We have to wait. Okay, we have to wait for a change of character, to the upside. This is a bearish move, okay, bearish pullback, and price is coming to the 4-hour POI. We have to wait for price to change, give us that indication that it's now trying to change bullish, and let's see what happens. So from this high here, price tried to make a reach the low here, tried to take out this hyper field to do so, and then that led to a change of character. Then what do we wait for? We now wait for price to return into the sweep zone that swept this high, and then when price does that, we now take a sell, and that exactly happened. As you can see, an eyeball happened, price is pulled back, and then after that, what happened? Price pulled again into this area, and then that, I think this was why I now took the trade, but then price sort of took me out before continuing, and then we had another break of structure. You can see that, right? And then it continues to happen again. Now let's see what exactly happened. So we had this low, price registered a high, we had this low sweep of liquidity, as you can see, and this tried to take out this hyper field to do so. Price registered a low, you can see that, and then took out all of this, both of this highs, right? And then we now had this. Now after this, what do we expect? Clearly we can see that the market has shifted from bearish to bullish, okay, and we have this. So what do we expect? We expect a pullback, and immediately we get that mitigation of this area. What do? We simply swing the trade, go down to the 1 minute and look for an opportunity to swing this trade all the way here. But now we also know that price can do whatever it wants to do. You can come break this high and then pull back and continue downwards, or do whatever it wants to do. But based on our market structure, we know that we've seen series of higher highs, higher lows, and higher highs. So we expect that that is going to continue, based on expectation of order flow, and then from here we take that trade and we swing it. And that was exactly what I did. Okay, now I'm showing this because I also want to highlight how to use the EA, the position sizer, to actually enter trades like this and manage your trades properly. So if we go down to the 1 minute, let me show you what that trade was like. Basically this was the trade, right? So after we had that 15 minutes break of structure, and then a return, a pullback, and this was it. So you can see here that clearly what I had here, this was actually a Tom Leaks entry. And why is that so? You can see that this low was registered, right? We had this high here, a low, price pulled up a little bit, left a giant, it left not necessarily a giant, but left in a sweep of liquidity, which eventually led to what? A change of character, right? This high was taken, this internal high was taken, this high was taken. So that just gave us confirmation that now price is ready to target a swing high. And then what happened afterwards? Price returned, and then that was how this particular trade happened, right? So you can see how all of that happened. Okay, so now how did I manage this trade? Very simple. Now you can see this was a 1 to 7 trade. So what I did was I just sort of duplicated this, my entry, moved it to 4, 1 to 4. Now you know that at 4R, I'll always take out my risk. I'll take out 25%. So if I was risking $1,000, that means at 4R, that means when it's 4R, that means 4 times my risk, and that will be 4,000. That means I'll take 25% of 4,000, the fourth part, which means I've taken out my risk, and then I'll allow the remaining to target my to hit my target. And that was exactly what happened. Okay, so if you look at this on the 1 minute, on the 15 minutes, you could see that this was the structure, right? So price had after this break of structure, price mitigated this guy here and returned into the 4-hour zone. We had a change of character, and that was all we needed, and price pulled back. And then what we now did, when price pulled back, you can see where the arrow is, even on the 15 minutes after price pulled back, we looked for our entry, a Tom Leaks entry, and immediately we got that. We just entered. Price danced around a little bit. Now you see one of the reasons why I don't move stop losses is because of things like this. You can see price moved out, came, tapped, danced again, moved out, and before the move happened. So imagine if you're just trying to move your stop loss, I would have been stopped out of this trade, and I would have lost. I wouldn't have got to my 1 to 7, which would have been sad, but that's that. So anyways, with this now, I'll usually just copy the data. Let me show you how I do that. Double tap that. I'll copy my entry like this, copy the entry. I'll go to my EA. I'll show you how to set this up, and then I'll paste that in like this. I'll copy the profit. I'll paste that in quickly. You can see that might take profit too, and then I'll copy, the stop loss, and now paste that in my stop loss field. You can see that, and immediately I click on this TP1, that's my first stop loss. What's going to happen to multiply, it will sort of give me, it will 4 times my stop loss and give me the particular, level in the chart, and that is it. So when the price, so you can see that when entry, this will be the entry, and then when the price gets to 4R, it will take out 25% until it gets to my target, right? And this is simply how I trade day in, day out. Okay, now that is basically how I use the tool. Now let's talk about how do you now set up the tool. Okay, now enough of that. That was just a quick one on that trade. So how do you now set up the tool? Now, by the way, I didn't mention this, but you could see this giant drop from the day before gave me more confidence to be able to hold this trade, because now I knew that with this giant drop, I expect that price is going to fit in all of this imbalance around here, and that was what was happening all the way from Thursday, and including today, and hopefully Monday. Hopefully by Monday, I would think or expect that price might pull back into this demand, and then give us maybe a 15 minutes change of character, and then we're willing to enter and trade to this high and take out this high, because this is a weak high now, because it failed to do its job, which is to take out this high. It left a giant wick, so we expect that price is now going to return and take that out, but let's see what happens. Okay, so now to the main reason why we're doing this, right? How do you set up the MA? All right, let's look at how you set up the MA. Now there is the earnforex.com. You see the link in the description in the course. So you just come here, the earnforex website, MetaTrader expert advisor. The link will bring you here, and you see Position Sizer EA. There's a lot of explanation as to what it does, how it works, and different things. You can read up on it. It's just basically a tool that allows you to manage the trade. So for me, for example, after I take out my 25% at 4R, I know that I'm in a risk-free trade. Now I can focus and just do whatever I want to do, but I don't have to be on the chart to exactly be the one to close to close the trade when it hits 25%. I allow the EA to do that for me. Okay, and I can continue doing other things. So this is it basically. So it allows you to do all of this. Its main features, works with any trading currency, of course. It helps you calculate your inputs, and results are displayed in a graphical panel. As you saw there, the panel can be moved freely across the chart. You can easily close and minimize it. So many options. And now I'm just going to show you how to use this for your own benefit. I've also included a folder that contains some presets, and I'm also going to show you how you can load that in your system. All right, so the main tab here, you see a lot of information. We're going to see this shortly. So all of these things we're also going to see because I'm going to be highlighting them for you, so you can of course study this if you want to, and that's that. So now let's go to the download. Okay, so first you need to download the software. Now if you're using MT4 or MT5, you can actually download both. So you have the link here, and I'll also put the link in the description for you. So if you check there, you should also see the link. So you have the link, so you can always download. I'll put the link and also put the downloaded file for you just in case, and all of that. But if instead of using what I download, depending on when you're watching this, when you're taking the course, it would be advisable to follow the link to come and download it directly from the website, because probably updates and all of that, right? Okay, so that is that. So you download the appropriate file. When you do, here is the installation guide. You can see that the EA folder file should contain the following files. So you download it as a zip file, but you need to sort of unpack it or unzip it, right? So you have to basically copy the entire file. By the time you unpack it, it will be a folder. You copy the entire folder. If you're using MT4, to this folder on your MT4, M4L4 experts, and then if you're using MT5, you also copy to this folder. I'll show you how to locate this, and then when you do that, that is it, right? So let me just show you now how do you locate this folder. I imagine for example you've downloaded it. Please do, if you haven't, unzip it. If you haven't unzipped it, do that. Then now when you come to your your MT4, this is MT4, all you need to do is go to file, when you go to file, go to open data folder. Okay, when you open data folder, you're going to see something like this. Okay, you're going to see on the MetaCodes terminal, you're going to see whatever gibberish you have here. It doesn't matter. What matters now is where you want to post that folder. So you open MQL4. Okay, and then under MQL4 you go to experts, and then under experts you just paste the folder Position Sizer. So you can see I've pasted the folder with all its content right in there. So that's just it. So you paste the folder Position Sizer. When you do that, you're simply good to go. Now when you come to your MT4 under expert advisors here, you're going to see the Position Sizer tool there. So what you now need to do is click on it and then drag it onto your MT4, the pair or the currency, right? So and that is it. So when you do that, you can now you'll see the Position Sizer tool around here, and then when you double click it, you would see everything about the properties, about common inputs, dependencies, and all of that information. Now I've also included a preset for you, just so that you can start off at a good place. Now of course we've looked at 3 different types of trade management, and I've included those presets for you to utilize. So how it works is that when you load it, I'm going to show you how to load it. You click on load here when you open your MT4, and then when it does, it will probably bring you to maybe the folder. I'm not sure, maybe here MQL4, or maybe in the presets folder. Anyways, look for the presets folder, and then you see the file. I'm going to show you how to load the file in here anyway. So you click on the preset you want, maybe remove risk 4R, set and forget 4R. So you just click on the one you want, and then you can open it, and then it will load it for you. So if I click on let's see what we have. For example, if I click on set and forget, let's see open. Okay, now you can see clearly that what I have on the screen is not a set and forget. It's to take my 25% at 4R, and then the remaining hits my TP, whatever that my TP might be, 5, 7, 10, whatever, right? So if I've loaded set and forget, that means I'm targeting only 4R. So now I'll just say okay, and then you can see it has changed to just give me that interface that only allows me to target to take my full 100% at 4R. If I want to change this, I go back to Position Sizer, and I click on load again, and I say remove my risk, remove R. This is a preset, and I say open, and I say okay, and then you can see now it has changed again. Now my whatever my 25% will be taken off at TP. That will be my first point, and then the full trade 100%, the remaining 75% will be taken off at take profit 2, whatever that may be. Okay, so this is basically how you can use this. Now how do you now load the presets, okay, that I have shared? Okay, let me now show you how to do that. Now after you have installed this, follow the instruction here. The instruction is also helpful here. If you're using MT5, by the way, you would also have an additional file in the folder that you should paste if you're using MT5. So just follow the instructions, and you really just be good. So now what you need to do, if you download the file that I've given you in the download section of the course, this particular lesson, all you need to do is go to your folder. So when you go to your folder, you can go to, in fact, don't go to your folder directly, just come to your file, click on open data folder. Okay, when you open data folder, go to MQL4, and then when you do that, go to presets, and then copy the content of that folder and just paste of the download and just paste it inside the space. So eventually when you try to access it from this Position Sizer, when you try to load it, it will show you, it will take you to the presets, and you'll see those there, and then you can load them on your platform. Now just in case you still want to update this, you have a lot of guidance, of course, on the website itself that you can use on how to set it up, and the description of different things. So you have the freedom to still go through all of that, but let me show you something quick and snappy. Now here we have the different variables. So some of the things I have changed here, I'll just show you quickly. So I've changed my stop label color. I've set it to crimson. Okay, you can see that there. My take profit level, I've set it to green, so you can see that there. My label font size, you can change this to whatever you want to change it to. You also have some choice of font face. Then also, let's see. So the lines too, okay, so the lines for the take profit is green, the line for the stop loss is also red, you can see that. Then entry line, solid, stop loss solid, take profit solid lines, and also you can specify the width of the lines. Then what else did I change? So default trade direction is long. You can always change it. You can see it's long now. I can change it to short if I'm clicking that. I can't do that now. But then you have also default stop loss value in brokers points. Just put 0 there. Entry type instant or pending. All our entries are based on pending orders, right? So you want to make sure that you also have your order type, as you can see here, has pending order. That means we're not executing a market order. That means based on how we enter, you always see that we have to wait for price to come back to us, a sell limit or a buy limit. Price has to return to our entry, tagging us in before going forward. So that's that. Then here we have what else? I think that is really that for that. Let's look at some of the things that I did update. You can also of course update this to also fit your own choice or your own trading. So let me just show you now. Now you can see here I had chose the TP multiplier for stop loss value appears in take profit button. That means I've set it to 4, and what this means is that the first take profit should be multiplied by 4. That is the meaning. Okay, so my first take profit is multiplied by 4 times my stop loss. Okay, so I don't have to be and one of the benefits of this, by the way, is you don't have to calculate. If I want to risk 0.5, I just simply tap it and it automatically calculates what 0.5 is based on my account balance, okay, for this account. And also if I want to risk 0.25, if I just tap it, it will simply give me that based on what I have, in my balance. So you don't have to do all the calculation yourself. Imagine if you have to do that. That's a lot of stress. Okay. And also the reason why you have to take your profit off, using the EA is because you don't have to be on the market to, actively micromanage your trade. You just leave it, you set it up, you leave it, and then when it gets to times 4 of your loss, it takes 25% off, and and then when it hits your TP, you're good to go, right? You don't have to calculate how many the loss size you need to use. You don't have to calculate different things, and it just takes all of that stress, all of you, right? So I've set the TP multiply to 4, the first TP multiply to 4, as you can see. Then what else did I do? Okay, I've set the number of take profits I want. So you can say I use 2 take profits for standard whenever I'm trading my remove 4R remove risk trade management style. So I'll always have 2 stop losses. So I've set that to two. You can of course decide to have 3 stop losses depending on how you want to modify all that you're learning. Of course, you have liberty to do that. I also learned from someone or from several people, and I've been able to develop a system that aligns with my trading aspirations and my own trading psychology or emotions. And also I have to take profits, and I think that is that. Oh yeah, and then the quick risk button, this one's, so you just want to say, oh, I only want to risk 0.5, you quickly click on it. 0.5 or 0.25, you quickly click on it. Of course, by my recommendation, I recommend that you don't need to trade. You should always risk less than 0.5 or equal to 0.5. And that is, risk management is everything. And that is what this is going to help you do. Risk management. You need to manage your risk. You don't need to be emotional about your trading, so always manage your risk. So we have that in place. So I've set the first one to 0.5, the second one is 0.25, and that is how I have this automatically showing up here. And then what else did I do? Yeah, so I think that was that. Okay. And with this, if you change anything based on your own trading style, if you want to have an improvement on what I've presented to you, all you can do after you're done doing all the changes, you can save. And then when you save, you come here, type the name of your own preset, and you're perfectly good to go. Okay, so this is basically how you do it, how you load your presets, you know, how you save your presets after your changes, and that is just that. Okay, now let me show you something. So we have the main tab. So on the main tab you can see the entry is long. If you tap it, it switches to short. So you always want to make sure you tap this. You enter your data here. You have your stop loss position, you have your take profit, the first take profit, you have the position, the second take profit. You also have the position based, of course, on your analysis on trading view. You simply just copy that data. Then the order type by default you will have pending. That means we're not entering at market price. Okay, market order, we're not using market orders. That means we have to enter buy limits or sell limit. That means we wait for price to return to our entry, tag us in before going forward. So we're really patient, in other words. Okay, so that is that. Then you usually see account balance here. Then here you have the risk, 0.5, 0.2. We've already seen this, and it will also tell you what the risk is with respect to your account, what you're risking per trade. It will tell you what the potential of what you have, what you could earn based on your entry. By the way, forget about as well, that's because I don't have a TP2, so I believe my TP should be somewhere far away. Anyways, that is that. Then what else? We have here the risks to reward. So it's also telling us that we're risking, our risk to reward is 1 to 910, which is of course very unrealistic. Let me just put something here just so that we can have something much more realistic, right? So let's make this okay, this is going to be better. Yeah, so you can see here now that our risk to reward based on, you know, what I've entered here is 1 to 4.86. Okay, and then our position size, our lot size in lot is this. The system automatically does this for you. So imagine if you have to manually calculate all of these things before you enter, that will be a long time. And based on how we enter, when we see our structure, we need to enter almost immediately, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, depending on the formation. So if you have to do this manually, you're going to be missing trades. But the EA helps you to quickly just say, oh, I want to reach 0.5 of my account, or I want to reach 0.25 of my account, and then you don't have to do all the calculation yourself, right? And that's how it works. Okay, so that is that for that. Then we have the risk tab. Now I don't really use this. If you want to study this, please fire on, but I don't really use this. There's the margin tab. I also don't use the margin tab. There is the swaps. I also don't use this. You can study and use it if you want to. Then now the trading tab. This is where you now execute your trade. And when you click on this button, it will ask you if you want to enter the trade, and then you say okay, and it opens the trade for you. You can put a trailing stop loss. I don't use this, so if you want to study and utilize, feel free. You can also put a break even. Sometimes I use this if I want to move my stop loss. If, for example, I want to swing it. For example, like today's trade, I actually did that after price, you know, hit, you know, my 4R here. I decided to move my stop loss, of course, using, you can do this automatically using the EA. So that way, even if price returns and takes you out, you're not really, your risk is out, and you at least make maybe whatever you're risking at the minimum, right? But I did that because I wanted to swing this trade. Okay, so it was actually a long way to go, so I just did that, and then the price eventually did this thing. Anyways, that's that. So that's where you break even. So you have to specify, and the example is this. Look at this, 1 to 4. So how many pips do we have here? We have 23 pips. So to put the break even you know, number, we actually have to put it in terms of points, including the pipette. So this is going to be 232. That means when price hits our 4R, 25% will be taken off by the EA automatically in MT4 or MT5, and then the EA will also move our stop loss automatically to break even. That's just, you know, and that's amazing. That's something that you don't have to be on the chart to be doing this, you know, yourself, right? This EA can just do it for you, and that's what happens. So we'll put 232 in our EA here. So we'll put 232. You see that? And with that now, we're basically good to go, right? So when you tap trade, it will open the position for you. Oh, I forgot something. Now we also have to set our take profit 1 and take profit 2. So take profit 1, we want the system to take, the EA to take 25% off at 4R. And then our second take profit, we want it to take, you can see it's made it, it's sort of changed to red. That means this is not equal. And when you try to enter a trade, it's going to flag it. So that means we have to put the right you know, percentage, and that will be 75%. So now good. So take profit 1, at 25% will be taken off, and it also include the value based on what we enter in the main tab, and then 75% will be taken off when price hits this particular value. Okay, so this is basically how you can use this, and how I use this currently. I don't use any other thing that you see around here, and of course you can look at this and see the settings. I really don't use too much stuff. This is just to help me manage my trade, and that is how I trade. Okay, so hey, I want to believe you've actually learned a thing or two from this. You have, of course, additional you have the link. You can always go back on the link to study this and also see how it works, and also utilize it right for your trading, and you just take out all the stress from your trading, and you allow the EA to do its thing, takes your profit at the appropriate location, moves your stop loss to break even if you want to, depending on market condition, if you're swinging it most of the time. Yeah, and that is basically it. Okay, that is basically how you manage your trade, and then when you do that, you have your stop loss in place, you have your take profit in place. You can just go and do something else and just set an alarm, okay, for when, let's say, when price hits this my TP, give me an alarm. When price hits my take profit, also give me an alarm. That way I know that my trade has been invalidated, and I can look for maybe another trade if I see it before my closing, when I stop looking for trades, or the close of maybe the New York session, or both sessions, right? So that is basically how you can manage your trade, and how I actually do manage my trade in the system. I'm not sure if I've done this, but just in case I've not done this, I think I have how to set up your trading view, take profit and whatever. You can see that the numbers here are compact. Trading view allows you to either maybe compact the stats mode, statistics mode, or you just show everything. So if you want to do that, you're at liberty. So if I don't want to do that, the non-compact mode shows me everything, risk to reward ratio and blah blah blah, but it's just too much information, so I usually just do this. I think we've done this already, but I just felt like mentioning it. Okay guys, so that is really it about the EA, how you can set it up. You have the presets, utilize the presets, and yeah, let me know how it goes. Okay, so hey, I wish you all the best. See you in the next lesson. Bye bye and cheers.